The newest episodes of Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord are officially out, so let's just get right into it. Because today we're talking Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord, episode 5 and 6, breakdown and review. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Alright, getting into these episodes, first I want to go over the things that I really liked, because I always want to try to praise every single series before I get into the things that I really had issues with. So starting out, one thing that I found incredibly intriguing, and I'm actually looking forward to them continuing this specific storyline, everything going on with Darth Maul and his organization as far as how the dissension is starting to happen. Some of them are questioning what they're doing, why they are staying on that planet. Some of them want to leave, and they even point out that there really isn't any profit to be made right now because they have to be in hiding because of the Empire. And the only reason Darth Maul wants to stay on that planet is so he can lure Devin over to the dark side and bring her in as his apprentice. And all of them see that. They're all starting to see that he is risking quite literally everything for this one person. And some of them are really having issues with that. Now, it isn't enough right now for them to actually stage a coup and betray him in any way. However, I feel like if things continue this way, some of them will definitely stage some type of coup and they will end up betraying him, either in favor of the Emperor or actually for one of the other people that is in that criminal organization. And speaking of the criminal organization, the interaction between Maul and the person that he had been working with, the really short alien, I am totally slipping on his name, but in this episode, he quite literally says that he doesn't really have anything to do. His networks aren't able to make a profit at this time because of the Empire. So he's basically just staying there. And Maul looks at him and says, "You're free to go. You did as I asked and you're free to go." This is probably one of my favorite aspects of Darth Maul, especially that we're getting to see in this series. And that's the fact that although he is evil, he does also have some type of morals. He is going to do cruel things to you if you betray him, if you go back on your word. But if you do as he asks, if you don't betray him, and if you are loyal, he is going to spare your life. He's not going to hold you captive. And that's why in this moment, he quite literally stated to this person that you are free to go. You can do as you wish. Now, this person does decide to just stay with Maul because he realizes there is nothing out there for him. So he is just going to wait everything out with Darth Maul, which does make sense. However, to me, it adds layers to the character of Darth Maul and shows that he is not just a ruthless Sith anymore, and he does at least have some type of honor, even though he is still technically a Sith and still a dark side user. As long as you don't screw him over, you are probably fine. And that's one thing that I am really looking forward to seeing throughout this series as it progresses. Now, another thing that I really enjoyed about these episodes was that short little training montage that we got from Darth Maul, showing that he does still keep up with his training, even if it is just something simple like going through his lightsaber techniques. At first, we see him doing it with just one blade ignited, and then he does switch to his signature dual blade and then proceed to go throughout his training motions. However, unfortunately, this is cut short, but even still, it was still really awesome to see. Any type of Maul combat, even if it is just training, I will absolutely love it. He is one of the best and most entertaining fighting styles to watch in all of Star Wars, in my opinion. Now, speaking of fighting styles, we got to see more of the fighting style from Devin and also from Master Daki when they did come face to face with the Inquisitor, and these scenes were actually pretty cool. The choreography was really good. The fighting style for Devin, in my opinion, is better than Master Daki. However, that's definitely deliberate, not only to show that she is probably more powerful than him, but also because of his age. He quite literally struggles walking sometimes, and you can see he gets winded very easily. So this is either due to his age, or it's because he sustained some type of injury when they were escaping during Order 66. That is actually one other thing that I'm really hoping they do expand upon, how these two ended up surviving Order 66. I know we have gotten a ton of flashbacks for Order 66. However, anytime anyone is revealed to have survived Order 66, I feel like it is really important to see how exactly they did it, because otherwise it just lessens what Order 66 did, at least in my opinion. But after the battle between Devin, Master Daki, and the Inquisitor, we do actually get a one-on-one battle between Devin and the Inquisitor. This was also really cool. It was happening while they were on a moving train. Again, the choreography was awesome. The animation was beautiful as usual. And in this scene, they actually did something that I really appreciate. At one moment, she gets her lightsaber knocked out of her hand, and Lawson's son, Riley, was right there. And in this moment, I really thought that he was going to try to grab her lightsaber and interject himself into the fight, and we would either find out that he was force sensitive, or for whatever reason, he could just square up against an Inquisitor, but they decided not to do do this, and she was able to just get her lightsaber back to her using the Force, which again, I absolutely appreciate. If they gave Riley the Force or let him use her lightsaber to help in any way, I honestly think it would have been really stupid. But as this battle goes on, it is clear that Devin cannot match up against this Inquisitor. So before she is killed by the Inquisitor, guess who arrives? None other than Darth Maul, and he absolutely saves her. And in this moment, she actually decides to fight side by side with Darth Maul. So in this moment, we get to see Devin and Darth Maul going up against the Inquisitor, and their teamwork, the way they were coordinating their attacks, was absolutely perfect. They were in almost perfect sync. Every single swing, every single defense was timed absolutely perfectly. Again, the animation was absolutely beautiful, and I feel like this moment not only cemented how much Devin is really considering Darth Maul's offer, but when we go to the end of the fight, after it is over, Devin looks at Darth Maul ready to fight him, and he simply puts his lightsaber away, and even she too then disengages her lightsaber, and Darth Maul even says to her, "I hope you see now who the true enemy is." And I feel like this is genuinely going to push her just further to the point where she is going to end up joining Darth Maul. Now, my biggest prediction for that is that Master Daki is going to end up being killed by the Inquisitor, and this is actually going to push Devin towards Darth Maul, because she is going to realize that he is right. And in my opinion, he is right. They need to fight against the Empire. They can't just wait for everything to be overthrown. That's one part that Master Daki said that I personally disagree with. He said that he has seen a bunch of tyrants. There's always tyranny, and the one thing they have in common is that it always eventually falls. But realistically, how many people die in the process? How many people lose their lives waiting for that moment? Wouldn't it be better if all the Jedi that remained banded together and did something about it? But no, instead, they leave it to a kid named Luke many years in the future, and he luckily was the son of Darth Vader, and he was able to defeat Darth Vader and take down the Emperor with the help of his father. However, if all these so-called surviving Jedi just decided to stand up and actually fight against the Empire together instead of trying to hide and eventually getting hunted down one by one, that quite literally makes it so much easier for the Empire to wipe them out. And this is a sentiment that Darth Maul has been preaching realistically since the Clone Wars, when he tried to convince Ahsoka to join him and take down Darth Sidious. If she had joined him, maybe things would have been different. And I feel like this series is going to show us that Devin is going to slowly realize this over time. And I feel like the thing that is going to push her to that point is going to be Master Daki's death. Now, all the praise for the episodes aside, I do have to get into some of the things that I really absolutely could not stand about these episodes, and unfortunately it is going to be a continuation of some of the things that have been happening since the very beginning of this series, and that's the fact that this series feels like a Lawson series. Yeah, Lawson. It feels like the show is actually about him, and Darth Maul is just a side character. In episode 1, he was in 2 scenes, and in episode 6, he didn't have that much more screen time than he had in episode 5. So realistically, this feels like the series is mainly about Lawson. And I get that these characters need to be in the story. However, in my opinion, I feel like it should focus on Darth Maul because it is quite literally called Maul Shadow Lord, and then right under him should be Devin. Right under that should be either Master Daki or Maul's crime organization. And under that, it should be the Empire. It should be the Inquisitors. And then all the way down at the bottom should be Lawson and those characters, because realistically, those characters are meaningless. I don't care about Riley. I don't care about the fact that Lawson and his wife are no longer together, because she got a job with the Empire and now works on Coruscant. And she's a big supporter of the Empire, and he clearly is not. However, I will say at least they aren't going down the route where they have the son working for the Empire and it will be father versus son. However, I can almost guarantee that they will do some type of scene where Lawson has to face off against his ex-wife, who is part of the Empire. Either that, or she will just be used as bait, or they will threaten her life to try to get Lawson to surrender in some type of way. No matter what they do with those storylines, I just absolutely don't care. I feel like it is so irrelevant, and all of these characters are absolutely meaningless in the grand scheme of Star Wars. Even for this specific story, they are not compelling at all. Some of the other things that I just had issues with, stormtroopers still can't shoot at all. I mean, there was a sequence where Devin and Riley were running down this very narrow hallway, and there were between 6 and 8 stormtroopers there, and for a little bit, she turned around and deflected their blaster shots, killing 2 of them. However, after this, they continue to just run straight. And the issue here is you see multiple stormtroopers continuously firing in this small, narrow path, and somehow not a single shot hits any of them. That is absolutely absurd, and I know the stormtroopers historically have horrible aim. However, in this scenario, I feel like anyone could have hit either of those two targets. The opening was quite literally so narrow. The fact that there were 5 of them shooting over and over again, and yet not a single shot landed, and at this point, she wasn't deflecting them. She was quite literally facing the other way so they could run away. Makes absolutely no sense to me. However, I digress, and I am nitpicking at that point, but by this point, it just is really annoying. I feel like you should nail the actual good parts of the episode, so this part should have been a lot better. However, unfortunately, it wasn't. So all in all, once again, the scenes that I really enjoyed all involved Devin or Darth Maul. I feel like these are the two characters that this series should be focusing on, and instead, Lawson continues to be 6 episodes in the main character of this series. I don't care about his son. I don't care what Riley is doing. I don't care about whatever sport they're playing. I don't care about the whole mother situation and the fact that she's in the Empire. And the fact that we got a tease for Darth Sidious in this episode, but yet both of the times we saw him, we didn't even hear any dialogue, and the episode quite literally ended with the Inquisitor talking to Palpatine, and we still didn't get to hear anything from him, was a pretty big letdown in my opinion. I feel like that is probably the most intriguing thing that happened in these 2 episodes, is the entire force of the Empire going after Maul, going after Devin, but instead we're focusing on Lawson, we're focusing on the police force, and we're focusing on Riley. So I really hope, considering that the series is more than halfway over, that the latter half of this series really sidelines Lawson, because to me, his story is so bland and so boring. I don't find any aspect of it compelling at all. Whether it's the person that was going to smuggle them out that he supposedly has some type of side relationship with, or his Empire ex-wife, or his son who plays sports, I don't care about any of them, or the fact that that droid for whatever reason likes his boots that he wears but they're not protocol. I don't care. It is senseless dialogue and senseless storylines that we realistically are just wasting time on. This is a Darth Maul series. Show us more about the dark side. Show us a little bit about Darth Maul's past. Show us Darth Maul trying to tempt Devin into the dark side. Show us more of him training her in the ways of the dark side. This series could have been so much better, and I'm really hoping that the last 4 episodes make up for how bad these first 6 were, especially how much Darth Maul is actually involved in a series called Maul Shadow Lord. So you need him to be in the story and a much more integral part of the story than he has been up to this point. Please sideline Lawson. Those are essentially all my thoughts on these episodes, but I'm interested to hear from all of you. What did you think of these 2 episodes? Do you have as much of an issue as I do with everything revolving around Riley and Lawson and the fact that Darth Maul seems like he is a side character in this series? Or do you enjoy the storylines with Lawson? Let me know in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.